What's up, restaurant owners? If you're looking to connect with local influencers and foodies in your community, or if you're an influencer and you're looking for more collabs, some opportunities to work with restaurants, you're in the right place today. I am here with Michael Diego and Joel Brody. They are from Wise Assistant. They're all about connecting restaurants, local businesses, and influencers. They're here to talk today. And guys, thank you for being here. Tell us, what are the challenges you're seeing in the restaurant industry, and how are you guys helping with that?
Got it. Yeah, Court, thanks for having us. First of all, like you mentioned, I'm Michael Diego, founder and CEO at Wise Assistant. I'm joined by Joel Brody, our director of revenue. We've been working in restaurants, or I've been working in restaurants for the last decade. And, specifically around COVID, we saw a lot of digital adoption, a lot of technology entering into the restaurant space for the first time. Many of them didn't even have a website before COVID. And so there's this element of needing to optimize many different entry points for the customer. On the digital storefront side, you now have multiple social media profiles you have to manage, and you have to curate and build a brand and a personality around. And then there's always the in-store experience, right? So I think having to balance those two different dynamics is very new for a restaurant owner who's used to running around and being on their feet and addressing customers. Now they have to worry about this whole other cyber sphere where people are coming at them and making requests as well. And there's always the need to drive sales to those channels as well. So with more and more people spending time online, it's going to just be increasingly more important that restaurant leverage these channels just like other brands to stay top of mind and to drive repeat visits. So a lot of different challenges. I think, Joel, you can add some additional color.
Oh yeah, absolutely. So, since the COVID era too, we've also seen a really big increase in labor costs. The volatility of being able to schedule labor for your demand is becoming an increasing challenge for restaurant owners to be able to keep their overall costs down and be able to protect their margins. And then, of course, the volatility of food pricing. I think everybody's been impacted with that. We have seen a lot of restaurants have to increase their price, fluctuate with that depending upon how the demand hits. And these are just some of the challenges that we're really starting to see really dominate how difficult it is to run and manage a profitable restaurant. The fact still holds true that the majority of restaurants are going to be closed in 1 year. It gets increasingly higher to make a restaurant last 5 years. And it really is about trying to find solutions for these owners to be able to help their time be able to be improved and give them a better ability to stay longer and have those experiences for the customers.
Yeah, and one of those strategies you guys are all about is working with micro influencers or influencers and connecting them to promote. And you're speaking rat to my soul, because I saw a thing that the word influencer was added to the dictionary 5 years ago, 2019, which I can't believe it seems longer than that. But tell us about influencers. How are you connecting them together?
The word influencer has existed since King George III, right? I think, Santa Claus was one of the first influencer that was created, by the Coca-Cola company, or at least the image of Santa as we know it today. I think people pretend like influencer marketing is this, new thing. And yeah, the 2010s really brought influencers into the digisphere or the digital landscape. And what we're now seeing is the rapid adoption of that. Kind of accelerated by TikTok, right? I think there's really quite a turning point when everybody started dancing in their living rooms in front of their camera. And people like to make fun of it, right? But at the end of the day, influencer marketing is all about, relationship development, relationship marketing. It's all about leveraging the trust of your community, your customers, your potential customers to deepen the connection and build a strong lasting relationship. So, there's a metric that I like to quote. It's about 70% of consumers trust recommendations that come from a friend, family, or influencer over a recommendation that comes directly from a brand. So, I think brands, in this case, restaurants or even retailers, they're working really hard to push their message to the customers rather than allowing the customers to circulate the message for them. And when they do that, when they inspire, motivate, and organize their customers to be those brand advocates, to be those influencers, they're going to see better returns. They're going to not only are they going to be driving more sales, more trusted and more engagement, but it's going to be more cost effective for the brand. I mean, a restaurant owner is not by design a marketer. Like, hey, there are plenty of restaurant owners out there that, through one way or another have developed a very strong sense of branding and marketing, but at the end of the day, they're running operations, they're running payroll, they're running all these different things. Why not leverage your customer base, your future customer base? And that's a lot of what we do at Wise Assistant, is connecting restaurants to who should become their next future best customers. And those are our influencers. So influencers not only give restaurants and other brands access to new audiences, and in our case, very hyper localized audiences. We're all about accessing not just exposure and reach in a specific metro area, but in a specific neighborhood of a metro area, right? Like with restaurants, you really do want to access those consumers that are either traveling near your business or that more idealistic, those ones that live, work, and play in the 5-10 mile radius around your business. So there's a lot of reasons that I could talk all day about why influencers are the play to be making for your business right now specifically, and that can drive all the other angles of your business. Influencers generate great user-generated content. So it's not just access to a community, and it's not just access to a very specific niche-defined, hyper-localized community, but it's also access to very high-quality video content as well. So those are just some of the benefits that we see in leveraging influencers.
Yeah, it's absolutely boils down to a lot more of a trust factor, a fun factor, and a content factor, right? So the influencers that are out in the community, they have their followers. Many of them are hyper localized to the market that they're in. People that are following them have already built trust within their content that they've created over time. So if they recommend and show a restaurant from a month ago and they've been liking it, it definitely can match those niche specifics to what they might be looking for in a shared experience. And with the content that they're creating, it really is a unique approach to seeing the real value of the brand experience from a more, I would say, subjective measure or objective measure, where the brands of restaurants are going to have a lot more detailed oriented messaging out there. The content that the influencers are creating is more trustworthy in the fact that it comes off more as authentic and more organic. Everyone can kind of understand that if you've ever seen a McDonald's commercial, you're probably never going to get the food that is presented on that. So it's the same kind of approach, except we're hopefully providing a way for the brand to see an extension of their message more than something that is contrary to their message.
I love that word, authenticity. I totally missed saying that word, but I love that you put that in there, Joel. Authenticity is key in the modern age where, polished images and videos just aren't connecting with the culture anymore.
Yep. Yeah. It's almost like the worse your video is, or like the messier it is, the better that people like, I mean, that's where we are. And so, yeah, super smart. So tell us about Wise Assistant and kind of the inspiration behind that.
Yeah, I mean, so I've worked in agencies that serve the restaurant and retail market for my entire career. In that position, working on the social media side, got to experiment with a lot of tools that just didn't meet my needs really. So it was about building a solution that solved for those needs. With the restaurants, there is the hyper locality element of it. You know how many platforms I've used where when I apply all the filters and I get down to what I'm hoping is going to be a very rich roster of local influencers using another influencer marketing platform, and I apply all these filters and I get 2 results, because these platforms just don't have the granular kinds of data we need, like the zip code, right? Like where does the influencer actually live in the market? So And then if you're a marketing team, you might not always live in the market that you're serving. You might not understand how that market operates. You might not have like boots on the ground. So our approach to solving that problem was actually by building influencer communities, right? And I know that's kind of like a buzzword, but you can think about when you're using our platform, you're not just accessing a roster of individuals, you're accessing a collective, right? We have branded, self-organized, self-managed communities in all the markets that we serve, and these provide substantial benefits, whether that's speed, executing a campaign in weeks rather than months, whether it's, the level of engagement that you're going to get from the content. When we're activating as a community, you're going to get increased levels of engagement because the community members know each other, they're cross-pollinating, cross-promoting. And then there's the cost factor, right? As a community, there's a lot more benefits to that network to be involved rather than just another partnership with a brand. So having my experience working in social media influencer marketing more generally, it was about solving a more specific problem for a specific set of customers that, until we've solved it in this way, just didn't really feel like it was simple enough. It's always just been a painful, annoying process that has been managed by spreadsheets and text message and DMs and emails. And, how do we centralize and streamline that process is really our mission at Wise.
Yeah, I mean, it really boils down to trying to create a solution that is going to be simpler, faster, and more impactful. There's a lot of different options out there. Influencers, are everywhere. But for the restaurant owner or the marketing manager or even the PR firm representing the restaurant group, the challenges that they face are really trying to create what is going to be the most niche specific alignment with the influencers you want, with the ideal customer that you're looking to bring into the restaurant. And most of the times they might have 10, 15, 20 on staff that they have the phone number, but it creates a lot of time challenges of some of these people are going to have to reach out and be making phone calls, emails, text messages, trying to align the times for them. The way that we've created the solution within the community is we have the scale to be able to find the right influencers for the right campaign at the right time and be able to do all of the legwork and back-end communication for the client without having them to be able to lift a finger. And of course, we've adapted this inside a tech platform, the app, to be able to assist further with streamlining campaigns a lot faster.
So very cool. So how does it work? So imagine I'm Courts Cafe and I'm like, I want to have some influencers come in and promote my restaurant. Maybe I have, maybe I have a Thanksgiving special or something in a couple months I want to promote or something. What does that look like? How would I as a restaurant work with you, and how would you connect me with influencers?
Well, I mentioned just a second ago that we have these communities, right? So first of all, you can sign up for free at wiseassistant.com. And our platform is organized around campaigns. You can kind of think about a campaign as a job post, right? A campaign is generally aligned with a specific objective in mind. And the most common types of campaigns that we execute on the Wise Assistant platform are growth campaigns, where influencers can visit based on specific scheduling parameters. And then we have event campaigns, right? So once you sign up for a free account as a brand, you'll be able to create a campaign. And through that process of creating a campaign, you'll provide us information like the city that you're executing in, but also like what the influencer is going to receive for their time, essentially the compensation for the job. And then what you'd like the influencer to focus on when they're in your space. What elements of the business do you want to highlight? And then what I think is super important, but often is not spent, the brands don't put a lot of time in, is giving your story to the influencer, right? You want them to really highlight what makes you unique as a business. And so we have a specific section in that document for the brand story that I would like brands to take a little bit more seriously, because that's giving the influencer really the history of your business. Once you go through and fill out that campaign, you'll submit that for review, essentially. And what that does, it goes to our customer success team, which will check it for quality, legality, and then we'll reach back out to you about the next steps to bringing that to our community. That will generally involve pricing, any scheduling adjustments that need to be made. And then once that campaign has gone through that quality check, it is published by our team and then is made available to the influencers. And there's two different ways that we put that in front of influencers. There is what we call inside network distribution. So we're providing it to all the members of our communities, but then there's the out of network distribution, where we're putting it in front of influencers that maybe we have experience with, but that don't currently have an active membership with Wise, or influencers that are new to the market. It's a revolving industry where, influencer, I think the lifestyle of an influencer is, 7 years, 5 to 7 years. So there's a lot of new influencers entering the ecosystem all the time. So we definitely want to put the campaign in front of those individuals as well. But, to summarize that in 3 simple steps: create a free account, create a campaign, approve, and go.
Love
That's
it.
great. That was such a complete answer. It's hard to really follow that up. So,
Yeah.
if you are looking for trying to get a campaign going or have any questions, just feel free to email me at joel@wiseassistant.com. We're always here available to be able to assist folks and restaurant owners, PR marketing firms, with understanding what campaigns are going to be most impactful and really how to get through the process quickly and easily.
Yeah, it's a really cool setup. It's really kind of like Indeed job postings, I guess, but for these jobs like that. And so one thing restaurant owners might be curious about is, like, how much do influencers expect to be paid? Like, are they going to have to, like, they get to set the price? Does the influencer set the price? How does that work?
Yeah, so you can set a price range on the campaign level, and you can set an overall budget, and those do help with the sourcing. We're going to put it in front of influencers that fit those budget range. There's also the in-kind flag. So if you don't quite have a budget for influencers, you can turn on that in-kind flag, which is essentially you're going to give them a free experience, often a VIP experience, in exchange for producing the content. But I think there's a wide range of different levels of compensation for influencers in the restaurant space. Because margins are often pretty tight. The food influencers often don't get as much as they deserve. But just to lift off some amounts, we've seen influencers that get paid as low as $100 to as high as $10,000, right? And it's not always a factor of followers, right? Especially in the restaurant space, is not, I have to really emphasize that it's not about followers. It's about the quality of those followers. It's about the locality of those followers, and it's about the quality of creative that you create. Your ability to tell a story. And I think there's new ways of engaging with audiences now. I know, Court, you're a big live person, or at least in your early days, you were doing a lot of lives. I think those are examples of, unique ways that are cutting through the noise on social media to get a brand's message out to an audience. So those are just some ranges, but it's all across the board, Court. And I think with the right restaurant and the right influencer match, there's a lot of different win-win situations that can be organized.
Yeah, I mean, the benefits are pretty enormous as far as the leverage that we're able to create within the community to align specific influencers for specific campaigns. So the impact that restaurant owners are tending to see are the quality content is going to drive engagement and create awareness and exposure. So just the idea of giving people more knowledge of, hey, this place exists, this is what we're selling, this is the kind of dishes and unique experience that we're offering, which, of course, is going to assist. It's also going to create, new customer base. So you're going to have people that are going to actually try out your restaurant. That's the main value, is we really want to increase your business overall. Within that realm, you're always going to have folks that are going to enjoy a one-time or 2-time experience. But because we're hyper localizing everything, we're hoping that the long-term customer value creation is great from a standpoint of having customers that are going to be coming back every week or every month. And because we're able to customize the campaigns for your liking. It really is unique in a sense of being able to create experiences for new menu items and specials that you may be running, evening and nightlife activities that are included, unique cocktail experiences. So it really is a nice holistic approach to growing your business in a streamlined type of a manner.
Yeah. I truly believe it is probably one of the best ROIs in marketing right now for restaurants, right? I mean, the old way was radio and TV and billboards and such. But if you can get in front of an influencer that has 20,000 people localized, and I mean, that is powerful. And I really think it's underutilized by restaurants. So I'm glad you guys are making that connection.
Yeah.
Let's flip it. If I'm an influencer, how can I work with you?
Yeah, so I mean, the best way to do it is to join our communities. You know, we have, as I mentioned, we are membership communities first. So membership communities for influencers, for content creators, and more broadly, membership communities for creative professionals. So, you know, we provide benefits beyond just partnerships. You know, we have coaching, we have regular event programming, we have online and offline events. So the first thing is like find Wise in your city. We're in 40 markets across the US, and we have individualized social media accounts for each of those markets. Generally, it's like Wise _ and then the name of the city, or Wise period and the name of the city. But if you go to our Wise Assistant account on Instagram, you can generally get connected to the rest of our communities. So follow our pages, engage with our content, sign up, create an account. And then we have these internal networks that we call the Wise Insiders. So these are essentially pre-verified, pre-vetted influencers that regularly attend our events, that we've actually interviewed and spoken with, and can really vouch for the professionalism, you know, quality of these individuals. And we're always growing that network, and we welcome you to join that network. Not only do those individuals receive priority access to campaigns, but they are our first line of contact in building this vision, right? We have to build this together. You know, there's no telling where the space is going to go, but I know that together we can build a really bright future that benefits everybody. So those are just some ways that influencers can get involved. We're regularly hosting events, so join us, apply for those events on our website. You know, and don't feel don't feel nervous to engage with us, or maybe nervous is not the right word. Like, you know, we want to hear from you. If we don't make the selections for most of our campaigns, right? So, you know, if you don't get selected for a campaign, reach out to us. Let's have a conversation about it. Let's see if we can get you some feedback on why maybe you weren't selected for the campaign. You know, maybe there is something that we can do. But generally, just like, let's keep an open dialogue. Let us know how we can make our product, our communities, and the experience that surround it, you know, a better experience for you, right? So I just say let's keep that line of communication open, and the best way to do that is to create a Wise account. Often you'll get an email from me. I try to interact with as many of the new members of the community as I can. But you know, feel free to email me as well at michael@wiseassistant.com. You know, we're at the scale where we can view a lot of the messages that we're receiving, and you know, receiving that feedback, and we take it very seriously. So just engage with us on the most broadest sense of the word.
Yeah, I mean, just like, you know, a restaurant's going to really value their customers, we really value our community members, right? And so we're always looking for variation and differentiation within that. A lot of people are getting into that 5,000-6,000 follower count threshold for being localized, and say, hey, maybe I, you know, can have some nice, shared experiences for providing back to assist with these restaurants getting their brand message out. So, you know, if you're really into experiences, being able to assist your local community with driving customers and getting to meet some restaurants and have some new shared experiences, it's a great place to start. And whether you're wanting to maybe get out once a month, once a week, or even more often, you know, as we grow, we're going to just provide more and more opportunities for local community members to engage with us, to experience with us, and to have, of course, some great food if you're a foodie.
Love it. I love it. So influencer marketing right now, where do you see things going in the future? Where do you see this evolving next?
Yeah, I mean, there's this idea of the experience economy, penned by a guy named Joseph Pine, I believe, a long time ago. And I think when Gen Z or people today think of the experience economy, they think of virtual experiences and digital experiences and augmented reality. But the experience economy has always been lived experiences and real life experiences. And I think as AI becomes more prevalent, as these virtual realities become more prevalent, the value of those lived experiences will become ever more valuable. So, I'm not one of those people that's going to sit here and tell you that in 2 or 3 years from now, every personality online is going to be an AI avatar of a shell of somebody. I don't believe that. I believe that as they become more digitized, these parasocial or real relationships are going to become ever more important. But I think in that comes just a natural hyper localization, right? So as the world becomes more globalized, we crave more more personal and direct relationships. So we already see through our platform, we're hosting a lot more influencer events where not only influencers can engage with one another, but influencers can engage with the brands. And, this is done at the most hyper localized nature possible, right? Everybody's in a single room. So I'm also not going to pretend that AI is, not something that is here to stay. No, of course it is. But, I see AI as more of a co-pilot, supporting creators, supporting brands, and being able to do things more effectively. And when we're able to do that, we will have time for more of these, unique lived experiences. And I think out of that, naturally, more dynamic partnerships will emerge. Court, I love the live presentations, right? I think that's not going anywhere quickly. I think that's going to come more increasingly relevant, because people are craving more authenticity, more in the moment, and more real experiences. So these are just some things that I think the market's going in. I think businesses will increasingly become influencers themselves, and so and that, I think, it opens up a whole new dynamic of how influencers and businesses engage with each other, because if a business is an influencer, they then have the power to also grow and extend the reach of the influencer itself. So to summarize all of that, I think hyperlocalization is not going anywhere. I think if anything, it's going to become more important to be like neighborhood level localized. But I think businesses as influencers, and then just an expansion of the types of partnerships that we're seeing in the marketplace, is going to continue to evolve.
Yeah, that's fantastic. And as Gen Z is growing, as we are becoming more digitized within the social network framework of everything, we do see that most businesses are going to need to leverage this type of marketing more and more. And the ones that aren't, we're starting to see a little bit of a disadvantage for them. And just some of the recent data and writers that are coming out are starting to recommend that about 30% of your marketing budget needs to be more in the social aspect of it. So not many businesses are up to that point yet, but they're going to fall behind if they don't. So, and then just to add on to Michael's point, the dynamic aspect of the communication is really, really key. So it's going to basically drive a lot more authentic communication between brands, between customers, between influencers. Reviews are going to become a lot more niche specific for things, for people to be able to leverage the power of AI to find the right content for maybe a meal that they're looking to have a unique experience for. So it is definitely going to be a lot of things that are going to take shape over time as we go more and more to this digital sphere.
Love it. Love it. So if I'm a restaurant owner, I'm like, okay, I want to do an influencer campaign. Like, what's a baby step that they can start doing now to kind of start doing that, would you say?
Yeah, I mean, let's do just a quick assessment of our social media profile. Are we clearly and concisely communicating our business and what makes us unique. Why you can think about your Instagram page as a business owner this day as kind of like your business card, right? And you know, when you do launch a campaign on Wise and we do put your brand in front of all these local influencers, one of the first things that they're going to do is going to check your Instagram, right? You're going to check your website. And that, you know, if your website isn't the most polished, you know, dynamic page in the world, that doesn't mean that you're not going to get any partnerships, but the quality of partnership that you will receive when you do just put a little bit of time in cleaning it up and tweaking it and making it look like you care, that's just it's gonna extend into the types of people that want to work with you. You know, people want to be associated with other people that take their presentation seriously. And so that's probably one of the first thing is like, take stock of your digital storefront, includes your social media profiles, your website, your Google profile, your Yelp profile, because you better believe that those are going to be reviewed by all of the most of the influencers that care and take this seriously. But beyond that, you know, set up a campaign on Wise, you know, like put your brand in our hands, and you know, we will provide feedback if we think it's needed, if we do think that you know, certain changes can make that much of a benefit. But once you have done that assessment and those tweaks, you submit a campaign on Wise. I mean, we streamline the process beginning to end. So it's probably the simplest way I can tell you to get involved.
Yeah, that's great. I mean, and we basically are just looking for restaurant owners or PR people that are engaging to understand that this is more of a necessity now. How are you able to express your brand messaging? So definitely with what Michael said, as far as reviewing your social channels, you know, also maybe you want to review your marketing budget and see what that's looking like. What are you looking to invest to grow your business? Which is great, because a lot of things that restaurant owners have to pay for that are detrimental, they're costing for their business. So just reviewing what your goals are as well. Where do you want to go? Are you looking to highlight specific content or experiences? And what is maybe the best thing that you can imagine to express that brand message? So it's all about trying to create the best content for you. And if you can imagine it, we can create it on a campaign.
Excellent. That's a great, think of your Instagram. It is kind of like your website. I wonder if people go to the Instagram page and check out places more than their website.
I know I do. So,
maybe true.
And, you know, so many of these, you know, we talk to a lot of business owners that might say, oh, I mean, but I think, you know, I want all these Google Maps reviews because, and don't get me wrong, I'm not going to challenge the effectiveness of Google Maps reviews. You need Google Maps reviews. You need Yelp reviews. You know, that's about intent decisions. I'm in, you know, the Lower Haight and I want to find a restaurant right next to me. Yeah, I'm going to go Google first and find, you know, 3 to 5 picks. But then you better know that the second place I'm going to go is the Instagram, because, you know, Google might have pictures, but Instagram is still the gram, right? It's still where, you know, aesthetics are communicated, atmosphere is communicated. So I'm going to go to Google Maps and I'm going to go to Instagram way before I go to your website. You know, if I'm ordering food, maybe I'll go to your website then. But even then, you know, I'm going to Uber Eats, I'm going to DoorDash. And so, you know, just talking about storefronts, as there are other storefronts, you got to make sure are polished and concise. So, definitely think that Instagram is probably a little bit more important than a website today. A website can be a landing page for most restaurants, right? So,
yeah, I mean, picture tells 1,000 words. So it really is about those dynamic type of content that you are going to be able to get out into your local community. And that's not only going to drive traffic within your restaurant, but, you know, it's definitely going to also optimize for online sales and takeout orders, as well, as that's starting to increase more and more within the marketplace that we've obviously seen since 2020.
Yep. Perception's reality. If someone comes to your Instagram and you haven't posted for a couple years, or the pictures are kind of lame, I mean, versus if you've got those influencer posts that you guys are helping and it's got great images of food, I mean, that makes a huge difference.
So cutting up 30 to 60 seconds of the whole experience that someone can have in a restaurant is way more impactful than reading a description of a menu or
Mhm.
what even a really well-known local food critic has written up in his magazine article. So
Yep.
we definitely tend to find that that's the most dynamic, impactful for engagement right now. And we really hope that you're doing it, whether you do it with Wise or not. We just want to make sure that you're able to continue to serve the people in your community and what your brand vision is as well, because we know how hard restaurant owners and marketers work for these restaurant groups and how challenging it is to stay in business. So anything that we can do to assist that and be like a great tool in your toolbox, we want to partner with you for the long haul.
Fabulous. Love it. What have I not asked today that I should?
I guess like what kind of benefits is a restaurant owner going to see from working with influencers? And when done correctly, the benefits are sales, right? Butts in seats, foot traffic, whatever you want to call it. As a restaurant owner, we know that that's what we need to be able to drive with these partnerships. We're going to continue to be a tool in your tool belt. But I do think other benefits that restaurant owners see are increased follower count, increased interest for partnerships. If influencers see that you're working with other influencers, it's a lot more likely that they're going to reach out to you, right? And so the more collaborations you do, naturally, the more will be magnetized to you as a business owner. So, having 10, 20, 30, 40, 50 videos on your page, then it starts to naturally kind of flow in. So sales, follower count, partnerships, and I think overall just more engagement with your brand more generally. More emails to your info box. Maybe it's about partnerships. Maybe it's about, hey, I saw this dish, but I don't see it on the menu. Like, how do I get this? And then just engagement in the terms of like comments, likes, shares, saves, all the types of engagement that we want to see on the social pages as well. So, I don't think we talked about the benefits, but there are plenty of them. And I think those are just some of the ones that we see and we strive for at Wise Assistant.
Absolutely. Love it. I love what you guys are doing. Super impactful. Michael, Joel, appreciate you. Wise Assistant. Is it wiseassistant.com? Is that right?
That's correct.
That's easy to remember. So go check them out. Restaurants, go create a campaign. If you're an influencer, sign up, see how they can connect you for collaborations in your community. Hope everybody's having a great day. Thank you, Michael and Joel. We'll talk to you soon.
Thank you, Court. Appreciate having us.
Thank you.